Hey guys, Katie here. So I thought I would finally hop on and post about my own personal Botox journey. I know I have been saying that I was going to create a YouTube video for quite some time, but life happens, and as a mom, a busy mom, sometimes it's hard to get around to do these things. So basically I started getting Botox when I was about 27, 28. In my teens and early 20s, I did not take care of my skin at all, unfortunately. I was addicted to tanning, and I kind of led a pretty rough life. So when I started to get a little older and I noticed the fine lines starting to appear and the sun damage, I knew I had to do something, and I had heard of preventative Botox from a friend of mine who was a doctor and who had suggested that I start getting it earlier on, like around 25 years old. And I kind of scoffed at that idea, but by the time I was 29 and I was noticing like a deep line in my glabella here and just little fine lines everywhere, and of course the sun damage from the excessive tanning. So it was finally at that time in my late 20s when I decided that I was gonna go for it, and I loved the results. Initially I started going to a med spa, but I had a really bad experience with them botching a lip injection. So after that I started going to a doctor, but the prices were astronomical, just not realistic for a young mom going to school. So despite all of the things stacked up against me, I continued going to get my Botox every 4 to 6 months, except for during my pregnancies, obviously. What got me to start doing my own Botox and fillers was basically just the fact that I had been botched with lip filler by a nurse. And not only that, but I have had a couple bad Botox experiences by doctors, nurses, like professional people, where they had placed too much Botox over like on the outer areas of my forehead and kind of given me like a low brow look, which is the opposite of what I was going for, because I do have half masked eyes, so I have heavier eyelids naturally, and I had to live with the results of that Botox for some time. But I was just kind of scrolling on Instagram, and I noticed the pen, the hyaluronic acid filler pen, and I purchased it and I decided to take the course. And as I was researching like videos of people doing their own lips and whatnot and cheeks with the pen, I came across like a whole wonderful group of beautiful women who are like diehard DIY skincare gurus, and that's when I realized that I can actually do my own Botox. So I went for it. What I purchased was Nabata. Oh, sorry, this is Nabata here, 100 units. It was around $100. I purchased it from Care, which is a super reputable site, and there's a lot of pushback from professional injectors not to purchase fillers and botulism toxins from other countries. However, a lot of these products are they might not be FDA approved, but many of these products are approved by a number of other countries. In some cases, they're approved by more countries than like our typical Juvederm, which is only approved by the FDA, which is like the United States Food and Drug Administration. Some of these products are actually approved by like 28, 30 countries, but they're just not used here in the United States. And that's in reference to fillers. I believe the filler that I'm speaking of is called Revelax. It's a really great filler, and although it's not approved by the FDA, it is approved by 28 other, I'm sorry, it's around 28. Please don't quote me because I might be a number off. But it is approved by many more other countries than Juvederm. So therefore I find it to be a reputable product that I'm not scared of using. But that's in regards to filler. Today we're talking about Nabata Botox. So I purchased this Nabata. Like I said, it's 100 units. I purchased it off of Vianacare. Wonderful website. Highly recommend it to anyone seeking to do their own DIY skincare. Because Nabata is not pre-mixed with the saline, I had to purchase a bacteriostatic saline, and I purchased it from a site called Mountain House Medical, something to that effect. I don't recall the exact name, but I will link it here for you in case you do want to purchase the Nabata. You do have to use the bacteriostatic saline if you plan on saving the Botox. The particular saline that I'm referencing it has preservatives, so it can last quite some time. I believe up to 4 months in the fridge, and it can also be frozen. Again, please don't quote me on that. I believe it's 4 months in the fridge, but it may be actually 1 month in the fridge and then 4 months in the freezer if you choose to freeze it. And so I knew I was going to need that because at one time I do about 30 units, and like I said, this box here is 100 units. I purchased this for approximately $100, and when I go get my Botox done, I spend about $300 to $400 on 30 units. So for me, it was a steal. The areas that I placed my Botox, I did a lot of research prior to injecting myself. Obviously, I hope anyone that takes this road does do thorough research because it's very important. There's a lot of different muscle groups, and the anatomy of the face is quite complex, so you're going to want to do your research. There are two different things that are quite common, kind of like mistakes that can happen when you are injecting your forehead, which is the area that I primarily target. So the first thing that a lot of people don't like is the Spock brow, and that is from placing too much Botox within this area. Like if you see my pupils here, within my pupils, if you place too much Botox in this area from like here on up, you can end up with Spock brows, and it's just like overly raised eyebrows. So I was talking about the Spock brow, which can happen from placing too much Botox in this region, which causes an over lifting basically of the eyebrows. And then the other common mistake that can happen is actually when you place too much Botox on the ends of the forehead, like from your pupil. If you see your pupil, this is like the tail end of the forehead. So if you place too much Botox in this region, that's when you get the heavy brow. And like I had mentioned before, that had happened to me at one time when a nurse had injected me, and I noticed it because like in photos, my brows were super heavy. So what that does is it relaxes the outer muscles too much, and it creates like a heavy brow. So in order to kind of avoid having these things happen to me, well, first of all, you have to know your own face. So I have hooded eyes. I mentioned that my eyes are half masked. So with that said, I'm not too worried about the Spock brow because my eyes are much heavier in the eyelid than most people's, and so I know that about myself. So I wasn't really too worried about placing too much Botox here. But if you are like most people, don't have half masked eyes, that would be something that you would want to consider. So there are different ways to avoid having that happen by placing like, instead of like a bunch of units here in this area, you can do like one, not like one, you know, one, to even it all out. There's just different patterns and things that you're gonna wanna do your own research for, but I just wanted to bring up those two issues that can arise, which is the spot brow, like the overly lifted brow, as well as the heavy brow. Those are things that you're going to want to research. So like if you choose to do your own Botox. For me personally, after I did my own Botox with the Nevada, I feel like this is the best that my Botox has ever looked. I have felt so many times that like in doctor's offices or med spas, whatever, I was super rushed and they were just kind of like, you know, trying to get me in and out as quickly as possible. So this time I did my own research. I knew exactly what I wanted. I softened the lines of my forehead, the injection sites, of course my glabella, that's my number one concern. So I did this, and then I also gave myself an eyebrow lift, which I feel like it worked phenomenally. So to do an eyebrow lift is you're gonna do 2 units at the tail end of your eyebrow, 2 and 2, and then I also gave myself a lip flip, which basically just pulls your lip up more like that. And I believe that it gave my lips a look better than any amount of filler, because it gives you that kind of like doll, like, you know, like pouty in the, like a pouty look from the front versus a duck look from the side. Like it's not like volume, but it's just like up, like slightly lifted. So how I did the lip flip was I did at each peak here, I did 2 units, 2 units, and then 2 units, 2 units. And I believe that the results are, like I said, I'm really impressed with my own results. And I will continue to do my own Botox fillers. And now I'm working on microneedling, excuse me. So that's my Botox story. And apart from that, once I started researching all of this, like these beauty procedures and techniques and facials and all of that fun stuff, I immediately decided that this is something I was super passionate about. So now I am enrolled at a beauty college to become a licensed esthetician. So fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.